The deep-sea mining vessel Ocean Explorer cut through the dark waters above the Mariana Trench. Commander Lee Jun stood on the bridge, watching the depth readings climb higher and higher. They were going deeper than any human had gone before. The mission was simple: find rare metals on the ocean floor. What they found would change everything. Dr. Park Hana checked her equipment one more time. She was the team's scientist, an expert in studying old things buried under the earth, and her job was to make sure they didn't damage anything important while mining. She never expected to find something that would shake the world. "Commander, we're getting strange readings," called out Operator Kim Do-won from his station. "There's something big down there, really big." Lee Jun walked over to look at the screen. The sonar showed a massive object buried in the ocean floor. It was perfectly round and smooth, not like any rock formation he had ever seen. The object was huge, maybe a kilometer wide. "Could be a meteor," Lee Jun said, but his voice showed doubt. "Let's take a closer look." The mining robot descended into the black depths. Its lights cut through the water as it approached the buried object. When the lights hit the surface, everyone on the ship gasped. The object wasn't rock or metal. It was made of some kind of crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. "That's impossible," whispered Park Hana. "Crystals don't glow like that naturally." The robot's cameras showed more details. The crystal surface had patterns carved into it, like writing but not from any language on Earth. The patterns seemed to move and shift as they watched, creating new shapes and symbols. "Commander, I need to go down there," Park Hana said. "This could be the most important discovery in human history." Lee Jun was worried. The pressure at that depth could kill a person instantly if anything went wrong. But the discovery was too important to ignore. "Prepare the deep sea suit, we're going down." 2 hours later, Park Hana was descending in the special diving suit that could protect her from the crushing pressure. The robot had cleared away the mud and sand around the crystal object. As she got closer, she could see it was even more amazing than the cameras had shown. The crystal was perfectly smooth and covered in the strange moving symbols. It pulsed with light like a giant heartbeat. Park Hana felt drawn to it like something was calling to her. "Dr. Park, what do you see?" Lee Jun's voice came through her radio. "It's beautiful," she said. "And impossible. This crystal shouldn't exist. The symbols are definitely artificial, but they're not from any human civilization." She reached out and touched the crystal surface. The moment her glove made contact, everything changed. Visions flooded her mind. She saw vast ships moving between the stars. She saw battles in space with weapons that could destroy planets. She saw humans, but they were different somehow, more advanced, living among the stars like they belonged there. The visions showed her a great war coming. Dark ships filled with creatures that wanted to consume everything. They moved from world to world, eating planets and leaving nothing behind. And somewhere, hidden in shadows, humans were preparing to fight back. Dr. Park, respond." Lee Jun's voice sounded far away. Park Hana pulled her hand back from the crystal. The vision stopped, but the memory of them burned in her mind. "Commander, we need to get back to the surface now." "What happened down there?" "I saw things that haven't happened yet. Or maybe they have, and we just don't know about." As they prepared to surface, the crystal began to glow brighter. The symbols moved faster across its surface. Something was waking up. Back on the ship, Park Hana tried to explain what she had seen, but the words seemed too small. How could she describe visions of humanity's secret war among the stars? How could she make them understand that this crystal was some kind of gateway? "Sir, you need to see this," Kim Do-won called out. "The object is doing something." On the sonar screen, they could see the crystal object rising from the ocean floor. It moved slowly but steadily upward, like it was floating in the water. Around it, the water itself seemed to glow with the same blue light. "All ships, move back," Lee Jun ordered. "Move back now." The crystal broke the surface of the ocean like a mountain rising from the depths. Water poured off its sides as it continued to rise into the air. The strange symbols on its surface now blazed with light, visible even in the bright afternoon sun. Then the crystal began to change. Parts of it became transparent, showing glimpses of something beyond. Through the crystal, they could see stars and space, but not the space above Earth. This was somewhere else, somewhere far away. "Commander," Park Hana said quietly, "I think it's a door." As if responding to her words, the crystal's surface rippled like water. The view through it became clearer. They could see ships on the other side, massive vessels unlike anything humans had built. The ships were beautiful and terrible at the same time, sleek and powerful. One of the ships moved closer to what must have been their side of the crystal door. Through the transparent surface, they could see figures moving on the ship's bridge. They looked human, but their uniforms were strange, made of materials that seemed to shift and change color. A man stepped forward on the other ship's bridge. He was tall and dignified, with gray hair and eyes that held the wisdom of many years. When he spoke, somehow they could hear him clearly despite the impossible distance. "People of Earth," the man said, his voice carrying authority and sadness. "My name is Admiral Kim Tae. I have been waiting a long time to speak with you, Lee." June found his voice first. "Admiral Kim Tae, but that's impossible. You're speaking to us through what exactly?" "Through a portal between dimensions," Kim Tae replied. "A gateway that has kept us hidden while we prepared for this day. Dr. Park, your touch activated the beacon. The time of secrecy is over." Park Hana stepped forward. "The visions I saw, were they real?" "More real than you know. For 3,000 years we have been preparing for a war that most of humanity doesn't even know is coming. We are Earth's hidden defenders, trained and equipped with technology beyond your current understanding." 3,000 years? Lee Jun shook his head. "That's impossible. Humans barely had iron tools 3,000 years ago." Kim Tae smiled sadly. "What you know of human history is only part of the truth. Long ago, we made contact with a dying alien race called the Architects. They gave us a choice: accept their technology and the responsibility that comes with it, or face extinction when their enemies eventually found Earth." The Admiral gestured, and the view through the portal expanded. Now they could see hundreds of ships, then thousands, a fleet so vast it filled the space beyond the portal like a metal ocean. "We accepted their gift," Kim Tae continued. "Some of us entered this hidden dimension to train and prepare. We learned to use weapons that can tear holes in space itself. We built ships that can travel faster than light. We became humanity's secret guardians." "But why now?" Park Hana asked. "Why reveal yourselves now?" Kim Tae's expression grew grim. "Because our sensors have detected them. The Devourers, the enemy that destroyed the Architects, have found our galaxy. They are coming to Earth and they will arrive soon." The portal began to stabilize, becoming more solid. The crystal structure was transforming into a permanent gateway between dimensions. Other ships from the hidden fleet were moving closer, preparing to cross over. "We cannot fight this war from the shadows any longer," Kim Tae said. "Earth's people deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know that humanity has never been defenseless." A smaller ship detached from the main fleet and approached the portal. As it crossed through, reality seemed to bend around it. The ship materialized in Earth's ocean, floating on the water as easily as it had moved through space. "Commander Lee Jun, Dr. Park Hana, you are invited aboard our vessel. There's much we need to discuss and very little time to do it." Lee Jun looked at his crew, then at the impossible sight before them. Ships from another dimension, technology beyond imagination, and the promise of a war unlike anything Earth had ever known. "How do we know you're really human?" he asked. Kim Tae smiled. "Because, Commander, we share the same stubborn refusal to give up that has always defined our species. We could have hidden forever, but we chose to fight. We could have fled to distant galaxies, but we chose to defend our home. That is what makes us human." The boarding ramp of the smaller ship extended toward the ocean explorer. Several figures in advanced uniforms walked down the ramp. They looked completely human, but there was something different about them. They moved with confidence and carried themselves like warriors. Captain Han Soo-jin, the leader of the boarding party, stepped forward. "Commander Dr. Park, we need you to come with us. Earth's leaders must be briefed about what's coming. The enemy will be here in less than a month." A month? Park Hana felt cold fear run through her. What exactly are these devourers? "Imagine creatures that consume entire worlds for food," Han Soo-jin replied. "They travel from galaxy to galaxy, eating everything in their path. Planets, stars, entire solar systems. They've been doing it for millions of years." Lee Jun made his decision. "Kim Do-won, take the ship back to port. Contact headquarters and tell them we've made first contact with something. Dr. Park and I will go with our visitors." As they boarded the alien ship, Park Hana looked back at the massive crystal pore. The emergency meeting took place in the most secure room on Earth. Deep beneath the Pentagon, world leaders sat around a circular table that had been built for humanity's worst crises. President Choi Min of the United Earth Council looked tired. In 12 hours, everything she thought she knew about human history had been proven wrong. Fleet Admiral Song Ji-ho studied the holographic displays showing the hidden fleet. Thousands of ships floated in Earth's orbit, each one more advanced than anything in the official human military. The ships didn't look entirely human, but they didn't look alien either. They were something in between. "Admiral Kim Tae," President Choi said, "please explain this again. You're telling us that some humans have been living in another dimension for 3,000 years? Kim Tae stood at the head of the table. He looked exactly as he had when Dr. Park Hana first saw him through the portal. His uniform was made of material that seemed to shift between dark blue and black, and his eyes held knowledge that came from centuries of preparation. "Not another dimension, Madam President. A pocket of space that exists alongside our normal universe. Think of it as a hidden room in a house. The house is still the same, but the room can't be seen unless you know where to look." Captain Yoon Da-yoon stepped forward. She was the intelligence officer for the Hidden Fleet, and her job was to know everything about Earth's current state. "We have been watching and protecting Earth for all these centuries. Every major war, every disaster, every threat from space. We've been there, working in secret." "Protecting us from what?" Admiral Song asked. "Until today, we didn't even know. Aliens existed." Yoon Da-yoon activated a hologram that filled the center of the room. It showed a galaxy map with bright spots scattered across it. Each of these lights was once a thriving civilization. The red ones are worlds that have been completely consumed. The yellow ones are worlds under attack. The green ones are worlds, like Earth, still hidden from the enemy. President Choi counted the lights. There were thousands of red ones, hundreds of yellow ones, and only a dozen green ones. "My God, are you saying all those civilizations are gone?" "Completely destroyed," Kim Tae confirmed. "The Devourers don't just conquer worlds, they consume everything. The planets themselves are eaten, broken down into energy that feeds their endless expansion." Admiral Song leaned forward. "But you said aliens gave us this technology 3,000 years ago. Why didn't they just defeat these Devourers themselves?" Kim Tae's expression grew sad. "Because the architects were dying. Their own world had been attacked by the Devourers. They managed to escape, but barely. They spent their last years searching for a species that could carry on the fight." "Why humans?" President Choi asked. "We weren't the most advanced species in the galaxy." "No," Kim Tae agreed, "but the architects weren't looking for the most advanced species. They were looking for the most stubborn one." Captain Han Soo-jin, who had brought Lee Jun and Park Hana to the meeting, stepped forward with another officer. "Madam President, Admiral Song, this is Captain Lim Soo-young, our military strategist. She can explain what makes humans different." Lim Soo-young was a small woman, but she carried herself like someone who had seen many battles. "The architects studied hundreds of species before they chose us. Most intelligent species, when faced with impossible odds, will either surrender or flee. Humans do something different." "Which is?" Admiral Song asked. "We get angry," Lim Soo-young said simply. "When humans are backed into a corner, we don't give up. We fight harder. The architects called it adaptive ferocity, the ability to become more dangerous when threatened. She activated another hologram showing human history. Look at your own records. Every time humans faced extinction, they found a way to not just survive, but to grow stronger. Ice ages, plagues, wars, natural disasters. Each one should have destroyed your species. Instead, each one made humans better at surviving the next threat. Kim Tae nodded. The architects gave us their technology, but they also gave us time. 3,000 years to prepare, to learn, to become the warriors the galaxy needs. How many of you are there? President Choi asked. In the hidden fleet. About 2 million people, Kim Tae replied. But we are not separate from Earth's humanity. We are your children, your brothers and sisters, your descendants. Every generation, some humans have been chosen to join us. Admiral Song looked confused. Chosen how? We would have noticed if people were disappearing. Captain Yoon Da-un smiled. Have you ever wondered about people who vanish without a trace? Explorers who disappear in remote areas. Pilots who fly into storms and are never found. Researchers who go missing in dangerous places. Not all of them died. You've been kidnapping people? President Choi's voice was sharp. No, Kim Tae said, firmly. We only take volunteers. People who are already facing certain death, who have nothing left to lose. We offer them a choice. Die with their current life, or live with a greater purpose. Dr. Park Hana, who had been quiet during most of the meeting, finally spoke. The visions I saw when I touched the crystal, they showed humans living among the stars working with alien species. Is that possible? Captain Han Soo-jin answered. Dr. Park, what you saw wasn't just possible. It's already happening. We have made contact with other surviving species. Most are hiding like Earth was, but some are willing to fight. A new hologram appeared showing creatures that definitely weren't human. Some looked like living crystals, others like clouds of gas held together by energy fields. All of them seemed to be building weapons and preparing for war. The Resonari communicate through harmonic vibrations, Han Soo-jin explained, pointing to the crystal beings. The Nimari exist as collective consciousness in gas form. The Structans are artificial intelligences that have been fighting the Devourers for 1,000 years. And they're willing to work with us? Admiral Song asked. They're willing to follow us, Lim Soo-young corrected. In every major battle against the Devourers, the species that survived longest were the ones that fought like humans, refusing to surrender even when defeat seemed certain. President Choi stood up and walked to the large window that showed Earth from orbit. The hidden fleet was clearly visible now, thousands of ships surrounding the planet like protective guardians. You're asking us to trust you completely, she said, to believe that humanity's entire history has been guided by this secret plan. Not guided, Kim Tae said. Protected. Every human achievement, every scientific discovery, every cultural advancement, that was all you. We only made sure you survived long enough to achieve it. But now you need our help. We need Earth's help, Kim Tae confirmed. The hidden fleet is powerful, but we are only 2 million people. The Devourers are bringing billions of creatures to our galaxy. We need Earth's 6 billion humans, your industrial capacity, your creativity. Admiral Song asked the question everyone was thinking. What exactly are you asking us to do? Captain Lim Soo-young activated a final hologram. This one showed Earth, but not as it currently existed. Instead, it showed a planet covered in massive construction projects. Orbital platforms surrounded Earth like rings. The moon had been converted into a fortress covered in weapons. We're asking you to transform your world into a military fortress, Lim Soo-young said. Every factory retooled to build weapons, every scientist working on new technologies, every person prepared to fight for humanity's survival. The room was quiet for a long moment. The magnitude of what was being asked seemed impossible. How long do we have? President Choi asked. The Devourer advance scouts will arrive in 3 weeks, Kim Tae replied. Their main fleet will be here. In 2 months, 3 weeks to prepare for a war against galaxy-eating monsters, Admiral Song said. That's not enough time. It's the time we have, Kim Tae said. But you're not starting from nothing. We've been preparing Earth for this moment for centuries. Every military base has hidden weapon caches that will be activated. Every major city has underground bunkers that were built in secret. Every government has received technology upgrades without knowing where they came from. Dr. Park Hana realized something. The technological advances of the last 50 years, computers, satellites, advanced materials, those came from you? Some of them. Captain Yoon Da-eun confirmed. We've been carefully introducing architect technology to Earth scientists, always making it seem like natural human innovation, but guided to develop the foundations you would need. President Choi returned to her seat. And if we refuse? If Earth decides this is too dangerous? Kim Tae's expression became grim. Then the hidden fleet will fight alone, and Earth will be consumed when we lose. Madam President, the Devourers are not a natural disaster that might miss your planet. They are intelligent and thorough. They will find Earth and they will eat every atom of it. But if we fight with you? If we fight together, Kim Tae said, his voice growing stronger, humanity will become the dominant species in the galaxy, not through conquest but through the gratitude of the civilizations we save. Earth will be the capital of a new galactic civilization. The meeting continued for hours. Technical experts explained how Earth's technology could be upgraded. Military strategists outlined battle plans. Scientists described weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Finally, President Choi called for a vote. It was unanimous. Earth would join the E. Lieutenant Bae Won-ho watched the edge of the solar system through sensors that could see across impossible distances. He had been monitoring space for signs of the enemy for 2 weeks since the Great Revelation. The hidden fleet was fully deployed now, with Earth's regular military working alongside ships that seemed like magic. The alarm started softly, then grew louder. Bae Won-ho's screen filled with red warnings. Contact, he announced to the command center. Multiple large objects detected beyond Pluto's orbit. Colonel Lim Soo-young moved to his station immediately. She had been waiting for this moment her entire military career. Show me. The main screen displayed what their sensors had found. At first it looked like asteroids or space debris. Then the objects began to move in formation, and everyone realized what they were seeing. Ships. Massive ships that dwarfed even Earth's largest vessels. How many? Lim Soo-young asked. I'm counting 50 primary vessels, Bae Won-ho reported. But Colonel, the size readings can't be correct. Some of these ships are showing as large as Earth's moon. Admiral Kim Tae's voice came over the communication system from the flagship Eternal Guardian. The size readings are correct, Colonel. The Devourers build their ships to intimidate as much as to fight. They want their enemies to surrender before the battle begins. President Choi Min's voice joined the conversation from Earth's command bunker. Admiral, are these the scouts you mentioned? Yes, Madam President. 50 ships is a small force for them. They're here to test our defenses and report back to their main fleet. On Earth, millions of people watched their televisions and computer screens as the news spread. 3 days earlier, the world's governments had told everyone the truth about the hidden fleet and the coming war. The panic had been terrible but brief. Now, faced with actual alien invaders, humanity was discovering what their secret guardians had always known. When pushed to the edge, humans don't break. They fight back. Captain Yoon Da-eun coordinated the intelligence gathering from her ship's bridge. All vessels, begin deep scans of enemy ships. We need to understand their capabilities before we engage. The data that came back was frightening. The Devourer ships were not just large. They were alive. Biomechanical creatures that had been grown rather than built. Their hulls pulsed like heartbeats, and energy flowed through them like blood through veins. Admiral, Captain Yoon reported, the enemy ships are beginning to accelerate toward Earth. Estimated time to reach Earth orbit, 18 hours. Understood. Colonel Lim, prepare to implement First Contact Protocol. Lim Soo-young smiled grimly. First Contact Protocol was the hidden fleet's plan for revealing Earth's true military strength. For 3,000 years they had stayed hidden, letting the galaxy believe that Earth was a primitive world with no defenses. That illusion was about to be shattered in the most dramatic way possible. All hidden fleet vessels. This is your final stealth order, Lim Soo-young announced. In 60 seconds, we drop all concealment and show these creatures what humanity can do. Around Earth, space seemed empty except for the regular human ships and satellites that everyone knew about. But that was about to change dramatically. Lieutenant Commander Nam Ki-young watched from his battle station aboard the destroyer Thunderstrike. His ship was hidden in a pocket of twisted space-time, invisible to normal sensors. Around him, thousands of other hidden vessels waited for the signal. 10 seconds to reveal, the countdown announced. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute first. Contact protocol. Space around Earth exploded with light as thousands of hidden ships suddenly became visible. Massive battleships materialized from nowhere. Sleek destroyers appeared between Earth's moons. Planet-killer weapons platforms uncloaked around Earth's orbital stations. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky and saw it filled with their protectors' ships. The vessels glowed with power, their hulls covered in symbols that pulsed with energy. It was the most beautiful and terrifying sight in human history. The Devourer ships, still hours away, suddenly slowed their approach. Their biomechanical hulls rippled with what might have been surprise or concern. Message incoming from the enemy fleet. Communications Officer Park Min-seok reported. Admiral Kim Tae's voice was calm. Put it through. The voice that came through the speakers was unlike anything humans had heard before. It sounded like multiple creatures speaking at once, their words layered over each other in harmony and discord. Small world species. You will surrender your planet for consumption. Resistance will only delay the inevitable feeding. Kim Tae responded immediately. Unknown vessel. This is Admiral Kim Tae of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are not welcome in Hawaii. This system. Leave now, or face the consequences. The alien response came quickly. Impossible. Sensor records show this world has no advanced technology. Your species barely achieved primitive space travel. Your sensor records are wrong, Admiral, Song Ji-ho said, joining the conversation from Earth's orbital command station. Would you like a demonstration? Without waiting for an answer, Song Ji-ho gave the order that Earth had been waiting for. All stations, weapons free. Show them what 3,000 years of preparation looks like. The hidden fleet opened fire, with weapons that bent the laws of physics. Energy beams that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously struck the lead Devourer ships. The alien vessels, designed to withstand conventional weapons, found themselves being torn apart by attacks they couldn't understand or defend against. Captain Han Soo-jin commanded a squadron of fast attack ships called Shadow Dancers. These vessels could appear and disappear at will, striking enemy weak points before vanishing again. All Dancers, execute Pattern 7, hit their bio-neural centers. The Shadow Dancers attacked like angry wasps, appearing everywhere at once. Their weapons targeted the nerve centers that controlled each Devourer ship. Within minutes, 3 of the massive alien vessels were drifting helplessly, their biomechanical systems severed. Dr. Oh Min-ji coordinated the technical aspects of the battle from Earth's upgraded command center. She was no longer just studying alien artifacts, she was using them to save her world. All orbital platforms, activate gravitational disruptors. Let's show them how we bend space itself. Earth's moon revealed weapon systems that had been hidden for centuries. The lunar surface opened like a flower, exposing massive cannons that fired concentrated gravity waves. These invisible attacks twisted space around the Devourer ships, crushing them with the force of artificial black holes. The enemy fleet tried to adapt, but they had never faced anything like human tactics. The Devourers were used to overwhelming their enemies with size and numbers. They weren't prepared for opponents who appeared and disappeared, who attacked from multiple dimensions, who treated space itself as a weapon. Enemy vessels are attempting to retreat, Lieutenant Bae Won-ho reported. Should we pursue? Negative, Admiral Kim Tae ordered. Let some of them escape. We want them to report back to their main fleet about what they found here. Captain Lim Soo-young understood the strategy immediately. You want them to tell their leaders that Earth isn't defenseless. More than that, Kim Tae replied. I want them to know that humanity isn't just another victim species. We're their worst nightmare, prey that fights back. The battle lasted 4 more hours. When it was over, 37 of the 50 Devourer ships had been destroyed. The remaining 13 were badly damaged, but allowed to limp away toward deep space. Around Earth, the Hidden Fleet regrouped and began rescue operations. Some human ships had been damaged in the fighting, but casualties were surprisingly light. The alien weapons designed to destroy conventional technology had trouble affecting ships built with architect science. President Choi Min addressed the world from her emergency bunker. People of Earth, today we faced our first test as members of a galactic civilization. We passed that test with honor. The enemy now knows that Earth will not surrender without a fight. In the Hidden Fleet, celebrations were brief. Everyone knew this was just the beginning. Admiral Kim Tae called a meeting of all ship commanders. The main Devourer fleet will receive the survivors' report within days. When they do, they'll know that Earth is not the easy target they expected. Will they retreat? Asked Captain Yoon Da-eun. No, Kim Tae said firmly. The Devourers have never encountered serious resistance before. That makes us either a fascinating challenge or a dangerous threat that must be eliminated quickly. Captain. Han Soo-jin reviewed the battle data. Our weapons were very effective against their biomechanical ships, but they'll adapt for the next battle. Then we'll adapt faster, Colonel Lim Soo-young declared. That's what humans do best. Dr. Ominji had been analyzing the destroyed enemy vessels. Admiral, I'm getting some disturbing readings from the wreckage. The Devourer ships aren't just alive. They're intelligent. Each ship is actually a single massive creature that's been modified for space travel. The implications were frightening. If each ship was a living creature, then the Devourers weren't just using biological technology. They were enslaving entire species, turning them into weapons of war. How long before their main fleet arrives? President Choi asked. Admiral Kim Tae consulted data from the fleeing enemy ships. Based on their retreat speed and the distance to their staging area, I estimate 6 weeks. 6 weeks to prepare for the real war. Commander Kwon Ho-seok stood in the diplomatic chamber of the Unity Bridge, humanity's first ship designed specifically for making contact with alien civilizations. Around him, holographic displays showed 12 different species, each one representing a world that had survived the Devourer attack so far. The beings on the screens were unlike anything most humans had imagined. The Resonari looked like living crystal formations that sang to each other in harmonic frequencies. The Nimari appeared as clouds of glowing gas that shifted and moved like intelligent weather patterns. The Structans were purely artificial beings, machines that had achieved consciousness thousands of years ago. Representatives of the surviving worlds, Kwon Ho-seok began. Thank you for answering humanity's call. We have a proposal that could save all our civilizations. The Resonari spokesperson, a crystal being called Harmony of Stars, chimed a response that the ship's translators converted to words. Humans who fight, we have observed your battle with the Devourer scouts. Your success brings hope, but hope alone cannot defeat the swarm that eats worlds. Cloud Dancer and Void, representing the Nimari collective, responded with patterns of light that became words. Our species has hidden for 1,000 cycles while the Devourers consumed our neighbors. Why should we believe this time will be different? Admiral Shin Ye-jin, the overall commander of the new Galactic Alliance fleet, answered from Earth. Because, this time you're not fighting alone. Every species that stands with us multiplies our strength. The Devourers have never faced united resistance. The meeting had taken weeks to arrange. Human diplomats, led by Captain Song Da-eun of the Cultural Exchange Corps, had traveled to hidden worlds throughout the galaxy. Most species were too afraid to even consider fighting. But 12 civilizations had agreed to listen. Structure Prime Alpha, the Structan representative, spoke with the mechanical precision of an ancient computer. Query: what evidence supports human capability to lead such an alliance? The Devourers have consumed 17,000 worlds. No species has ever defeated them in direct combat. No single species, Admiral Shin corrected. But we're not talking about single species anymore. We're talking about combined technologies, shared knowledge, unified strategy. Captain Jiang Min Wu, who commanded the Shadow Walker Squadron, joined the conversation. Representatives, we want to show you something that will demonstrate what unified resistance can accomplish. The holographic display changed to show the battle footage from Earth's first contact with the Devourer scouts. But this wasn't the sanitized version shown to Earth's public. This was the complete tactical analysis, showing every weapon system, every strategic decision, every moment of the 18-hour battle. Observe, Jiang Minwu continued, how our ships used multi-dimensional attacks. The portal technology that you see came from the architects. The gravitational weapons were developed from Structon mathematical principles. The bioneural disruptors were designed using Namari consciousness research. The alien representatives watched in silence as the footage showed human ships wielding technologies that combined the greatest achievements of multiple species. Harmony of stars chimed with surprise. Impossible yet true. Humans possess architect portal science. How did flesh beings acquire crystal song knowledge? Admiral Kim Tae, participating from the flagship Eternal Guardian, answered carefully. 3,000 years ago, the last of the architects gave us their legacy. But we didn't just preserve their technology. We improved it by combining it with knowledge from other species. Which brings us to our proposal, Commander Kwon Hoseok said. Each of your species has developed unique advantages during centuries of hiding from the Devourers. Alone, none of us can win. Together, we can create weapons and defenses that the Devourers have never encountered. The negotiation continued for hours. Some species were interested but cautious. Others were terrified of revealing their hidden worlds. A few were excited by the possibility of finally striking back at their ancient enemy. Cloud Dancer and Void was the first to commit. The Namari Collective agrees to share consciousness technology with the Alliance. Our mind networks can coordinate battle thoughts across galactic distances. Structure Prime Alpha calculated for several minutes before responding. The Structons will provide mathematical frameworks for improved weapon systems. Probability of victory increases from 0.003% to 23.7% with full Alliance cooperation. One by one, the other species agreed to join. Not all of them, but enough. Within days, the first galactic alliance in history was formed with humanity as its coordinating species. The real work began immediately. On a secret world called Haven, scientists and engineers from 12 species worked together to create weapons that no single civilization could have imagined. Dr. Ryu Sora led the human research team. She had been studying architect technology since childhood, but now she was combining it with alien sciences that seemed like magic. The Resonari harmonic amplifiers, when combined with Structon mathematical targeting, can create weapons that disrupt reality itself, she reported to Admiral Shin. The Namari provided something even more valuable: instantaneous communication across any distance. Their collective consciousness could link Alliance commanders throughout the galaxy, allowing perfect coordination during battle. But the greatest breakthrough came from an unexpected source. The Vorthak, a species of ancient warriors who had been fighting the Devourers for 2,000 years, revealed that they had captured and studied Devourer technology. War Chief Graktar, the Vorthak representative, was a creature of scales and claws who had personally killed 3 Devourer bioships. The Eater Swarm has weakness, he growled through the translator. Their ships are living creatures, but their minds are controlled by central brain entity. Kill the central brain, kill the entire fleet. Dr. Ryu Sora studied the Vorthak data with growing excitement. It's true. The Devourer ships aren't independent. They're all connected to a massive consciousness that exists in quantum space. It's like a galactic brain controlling billions of individual thoughts. Admiral Shin realized the implications immediately. If we can find and destroy this central consciousness, we can end the Devourer threat permanently. But how do we reach something that exists in quantum space? Commander Kwon Hoseok asked. The answer came from combining technologies in ways that had never been attempted. Human portal science, Resonari harmonic manipulation, Structon mathematical precision, and Nimari consciousness projection could theoretically create a pathway into the quantum realm where the Devourer overmind existed. While the scientists worked on the ultimate weapon, the Alliance prepared for the greatest battle in galactic history. The Devourer main fleet was approaching, and their numbers were beyond counting. Captain Han Sujin commanded the Shadow Dance, the first ship built using combined Alliance technology. Her vessel could phase between dimensions, strike with harmonically enhanced weapons, and coordinate with thousands of other ships through Nimari consciousness links. Alliance Fleet Command, this is Shadow Dance, she reported during a test flight. All systems operational. The ship feels alive, like it's thinking alongside us. Lieutenant Colonel Park Si-jin monitored the combined fleet from Haven's command center. Ships from 12 species moved in perfect formation, their different designs creating a tapestry of galactic cooperation. Human vessels with their sleek curves flew alongside crystalline Resonari ships. Nimari consciousness clouds provided living shields for mechanical Structon battle platforms. Admiral, Park Si-jin reported, "We now have 847 ships in the main battle fleet. Combined firepower exceeds our most optimistic projections." Admiral Shin studied the tactical displays. It was impressive, but would it be enough? Intelligence reports suggested the Devourer main fleet contained over 50,000 ships, each one the size of a small moon. The answer came sooner than expected. Long-range sensors detected the enemy fleet approaching the galactic core, where the Alliance had chosen to make their stand. The Devourers had taken the bait, believing they were attacking a gathering of desperate species making a last stand. "All Alliance ships, this is Admiral Shin Ye-jin. The enemy fleet has been detected. Estimated time to engagement 72 hours. This is not just a battle for our individual worlds. This is a battle for the right of intelligent life to exist in this galaxy." Captain Jang Minwoo commanded a squadron of portal-capable ships. Their job was to strike behind enemy lines and create chaos in the Devourer formations. "Squadron leaders, remember your training. We appear, we strike, we disappear. Make them think they're fighting ghosts." The Devourer fleet was more massive than anyone had imagined. When they finally came into visual range, they blocked out entire stars. Biomechanical ships the size of cities moved in perfect formation, their hulls pulsing with alien life. War Chief Graktar led the Alliance vanguard, his Vorthak warriors eager for revenge against their ancient enemies. "Today, we break the Eater Swarm. Today, the hunted become the hunters." The battle began with the Alliance springing their first surprise. Instead of meeting the Devourers head-on, they used human portal technology to appear throughout the enemy formation simultaneously. Thousands of ships materialized from nowhere, catching the biomechanical fleet completely off guard. Harmony of the final battle required one last sacrifice. Admiral Kim Tae stood on the bridge of the final protocol, watching the massive Devourer consciousness writhing in quantum space. The weapon Dr. Ryu Sora had fired had wounded it, but not destroyed it. The alien overmind was trying to rebuild its connections to the fleet. "Admiral," Dr. Ryu said, her voice tight with concern, "the quantum disruptor didn't sever all the neural pathways. The consciousness is adapting, learning to work around the damage. It's regaining control of approximately 30% of the fleet." Through the viewports, they could see Devourer ships beginning to move again. Thousands of biomechanical vessels were slowly coming back to life as their master consciousness re-established contact. General Nam Ki-young, who had been promoted to lead the Alliance tactical forces, watched the enemy fleet with growing alarm. "Admiral Shin, we're seeing renewed enemy activity throughout Sector 7 through 12. They're not at full strength, but they're coordinating again." Admiral Shin Ye-jin studied the tactical displays from her command ship. Even at 30% capacity, the Devourer fleet was still larger than the entire Alliance force. If they regained full coordination, the battle would be lost. Kim Tae made his decision. "Dr. Ryu, is there a way to completely destroy the consciousness?" "Theoretically, yes," she replied. "But it would require a direct assault on the consciousness itself from within quantum space. The attacking ship would have to merge with the alien mind and disrupt it from the inside. And the crew of that ship? Dr. Ryu's silence was answer enough. Kim Tae activated the ship-wide communication system. Crew of the final protocol, this is Admiral Kim Tae. Our mission has changed. We're going to make a direct assault on the Devourer consciousness. I won't lie to you about our chances of survival. The bridge crew looked at each other, then back at their admiral. Captain Yoon Da-won spoke for all of them. Sir, we've been preparing for this war for 3,000 years. If this is how it ends, then this is how it ends. Admiral, came Captain Han Soo-jin's voice from the shadow dance. Request permission to join the final assault. Negative, Kim Tae replied. This is a one-ship mission. The Alliance needs its surviving commanders to rebuild the galaxy after we win this war. In quantum space, the final protocol began its final approach toward the Devourer consciousness. The alien mind was vast, stretching across dimensions like a living galaxy. It had controlled billions of creatures for millions of years, consuming entire civilizations without mercy. As they got closer, the consciousness noticed them. The attack came as waves of pure thought designed to overwhelm any intelligent mind. The ship's crew felt the alien presence trying to invade their thoughts, promising them power and eternal life if they would join the swarm. All hands, activate consciousness shields, Kim Tae ordered. The Nimari-designed mental protection held, but barely. Dr. Ryu, how close do we need to get? Direct contact with the consciousness core, she replied, fighting off the mental assault. We need to merge our ship's quantum field with the alien mind. The final protocol dove deeper into the consciousness, passing through layers of thought and memory. They saw the Devourer's history, how it had started as a small group of beings seeking survival, how it had grown by consuming others, how it had become a cancer spreading across the galaxy. It wasn't always evil, Captain Yoon whispered. It was afraid of dying, afraid of being forgotten. So it tried to make itself immortal by consuming everything else. Even monsters have reasons, Kim Tae said. But reasons don't excuse genocide. They reach the core of the consciousness, a burning nexus of pure thought and will. This was what had controlled the greatest military force the galaxy had ever seen. This was what had destroyed 17,000 civilizations. All stations, prepare for quantum merger, Kim Tae announced. Dr. Ryu, activate the consciousness disruptor on my mark. The ship began to phase into the alien mind itself. Reality twisted as human technology merged with alien thought. The Devourer consciousness screamed as foreign concepts invaded its perfect unity. Now, Kim Tae shouted. Dr. Ryu activated the disruptor. The weapon tore through the alien consciousness, like a sword through flesh. But more than that, it carried human thoughts and emotions into the alien mind. Concepts of sacrifice, cooperation, and love for others flooded through a being that had known only hunger and consumption. The Devourer consciousness tried to understand these foreign emotions. Why would humans sacrifice themselves for others? Why would species work together instead of consuming each other? The questions created contradictions in its perfect logic, and contradictions created cracks in its unity. It's working, Dr. Ryu reported as the alien mind began to fragment. The consciousness is breaking apart. It can't process human emotional concepts. But the victory came at a price. The final protocol was being torn apart by the quantum forces. The ship's hull began to dissolve as it merged completely with the alien mind. Admiral Kim Tae sent one final message to the Alliance fleet. This is Admiral Kim Tae. Mission accomplished. The consciousness is destroyed. Build something better than what came before. The final protocol disappeared into the quantum realm, taking the Devourer consciousness with it. In normal space, 50,000 enemy ships went dark simultaneously. Their biomechanical hulls stopped pulsing, their weapons powered down. The greatest threat in galactic history was finally ended. Admiral Shin's voice echoed across the Alliance fleet. All ships, this is Fleet Command. The enemy consciousness has been destroyed. Admiral Kim Tae and the crew of the final protocol have given their lives to save the galaxy. The war is over. The celebration that followed lasted for days. Across 12 worlds and hundreds of space stations, Beings who had lived in fear for centuries finally felt safe. The Devourers, the monsters that had haunted galactic civilization for millions of years, were gone. But the real work began in the aftermath. Captain Ko Yun-Su was chosen as the first human galactic chancellor, tasked with organizing the new civilization that would grow from the Alliance's victory. Representatives of the Free Galaxy, Ko Yun-Su addressed the First Galactic Council. We face a choice. We can return to our separate worlds and hide again, or we can build something that ensures no threat like the Devourers ever arises again. The choice was unanimous. The Alliance would become permanent. The transformation began immediately. Earth became the capital world of the new Galactic Federation, not because humans had conquered anyone, but because they had proven themselves as protectors and coordinators. The Hidden Fleet, no longer hidden, became the Federation's peacekeeping force. Captain Song Da-Yun established the Galactic Cultural Exchange, ensuring that all species could learn from each other. Resonari crystal songs became popular music. On human worlds, human literature was translated into harmonic frequencies for alien readers. Nimari consciousness techniques helped humans understand alien psychology. Dr. Park Hana, now elderly but honored as the person whose discovery had started everything, was appointed as the first director of the Architect Memorial Institute. Her job was to study the legacy left by humanity's ancient benefactors and ensure their wisdom was preserved. The architects left us one final message, she announced at the Institute's opening ceremony. We found it encoded in the deepest levels of their technology. The message played on screens throughout human space. To those who follow in our path, you have proven yourselves worthy guardians of galactic civilization. The greatest gift we can give you is not our technology, but our trust. The galaxy is yours to protect and nurture. Use our knowledge wisely and always remember, strength shared is strength multiplied. The portal technology was shared with all Federation species, allowing unprecedented communication and travel across the galaxy. No world would ever be isolated again. No species would face extinction alone. General Nam Ki-young, now Marshal of the Federation Defense Force, established new military doctrines based on the lessons learned fighting the Devourers. We will never again allow a single threat to grow unchallenged, he declared. The Federation will respond to any danger to intelligent life anywhere in the galaxy. Captain Jiang Minwu led the exploration fleets that ventured into the galaxy's unexplored regions. They found worlds that had been devastated by the Devourers and helped rebuild them. They discovered new species emerging from hiding and welcomed them into the Federation. They located ancient ruins left by civilizations that had fallen to the swarm and preserved their knowledge. The most remarkable discovery came from Captain Han Soo-jin's deep exploration mission. Beyond the galaxy's edge, they found something impossible. Another galaxy that had successfully defeated its own devourer infestation thousands of years earlier. Chancellor Ko, Han Soo-jin reported, "We've made contact with the Andromeda Federation. They fought the same war we did, and they won. They want to share knowledge and establish trade relations." The revelation that humanity was not alone in its victory against the Devourers opened new possibilities. The two galactic federations began exchanging technology and culture, creating links between galaxies that had never existed before. Years passed, then decades. The children who had grown up during the Devourer War became adults who had never known fear of galactic extinction. They took for granted the